this meeting of the Cannabis Compliance Board for January 18th, 2024. We'll go ahead and have a roll call.
Thank you, Chair. Chair Guzman Freilich.
Here.
Vice Chair Durrett.
Here.
Justice Michael Douglas.
Here.
Member Merritt.
Here.
Dr. Young. Dr. Young, are you on?
Can you hear me now?
Here we go.
Yes, we got you. Thank you, Doctor.
Sure.
Chair, we have a quorum.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll go on to item number 2 on our agenda, which is the review and approval of the meeting minutes. We've got 3 items under that agenda item. The first is A, which is the approval of the November 14th, 2023 Cannabis Compliance Board meeting minutes.
One sec, before we jump into the meeting minutes, we actually have a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. We're going to do public comment first. We'll do the south, and then we'll do the online, and then we'll go up north. Do we have ability to have public comment in the north because we're doing it by phone? Yes. Okay. Perfect. All right. We'll go ahead and have public comment in the south.
Chair, before we begin, I need to read the joining information.
Yes, please go ahead.
To public comment via telephone, call 669-444-9171. Enter webinar ID 864-7769-5286, followed by passcode 569325.
Thank you.
Good morning and Happy New Year. For the record, my name is Abby Kaufman, ABBY, KAUFMANN. I'm the Secretary of the Chamber of Cannabis's Board of Directors and also serve as the Chair of our Commerce Committee. And since our organization was established in 2020, our members and volunteers have made at least 100 public comments to this body, many of which contain requests for the adoption, amendment, or repeal of regulations. And it's somewhat disheartening to know that many of the regulations we've urged the CCB to change were only revised after a legislative session required them to. So it's also kind of hard not to feel like the concerns and solutions we voice are falling on deaf ears. But the industry's voice deserves to be heard. So to turn up the volume, in 2024, the Chamber's Commerce Committee will be filing at least one formal petition. Ironically, though, I am here today to ask the CCB to consider removing the $500 fee to file a petition in subsection 3 of NCCR 4.145. Nevada's statutes include provisions allowing any interested person to petition the board requesting the adoption, amendment, or repeal of regulation. It's an NRS 678A for the CCB, and it's an NRS 233B.100 of the APA. But nowhere in statute does it mention or mandate fees for petitions. In my initial review of regulations for other state agencies and boards in Nevada, I couldn't find any other regulatory body that charged a fee for an interested person to engage in regulatory discourse via petition. So if the CCB has no obligation to follow up on concerns raised during public comment and historically has not taken the initiative to do so, our options are really limited to filing a petition. So I truly like to believe that the CCB holds itself to the same high ethical standards that it holds the industry to, but I don't think it's ethical to force operators to pay $500 to get the board's attention. Do you? Thank you.
Good morning, board. For the record, my name is Amber Jansen, last name Jansen. I'm an advocate, and I also here to represent Talkin' and Token. Back in October, I discussed with some of your team about 12.065. That's a regulation you have saying that any treated cannabis for remediation or decontamination should have labeling on the product, but I was told that that never went through. So I did a public request and got a list of all the companies that have been registered with the state that use equipment for decontamination and remediation. We received that on January 4th. We shared that on Talkin' and Token. We had no idea how many people really want to know and have that choice of what how their cannabis has been grown and treated. People don't want their products radiated. They don't want moldy weed that's been cleaned up. So what I am here to speak to you guys about is the fact that I've been in cultivations. I know there's people on that list that aren't on that list. I've had several people reach out due to this post to let us know that where they work or where they previously worked has this equipment. There's portable equipment going around. So the list isn't even valid. We put that out there, and so people know some of the companies, but they're not really aware of all of the companies. I urge the board to reconsider this as it's important to consumers, and they want to know if their cannabis has been treated. Thank you.
Good morning. How's everybody? Happy New Year. My name is Gerardo Gonzalez. For the record, everybody, the public, I'm here for Talking and Token. Everybody knows me as G. I'm here to represent the people. To piggyback what my partner said, Amber, and then the other company that's here that threatened my job and all that stuff for a public record, I see you in the back. But we were contacted by a few people in those lists because the list wasn't updated. So we had to go through and comb through that and update the list and do our apologies because we were wrong. For those companies that came at us in the neck, these are the people who made the list. So I think you should ask these people to update the list, whoever on your board updates the list so that everybody can be updated. Also with the portable, what do you say? The portable remediation machines that go around to other cultivations, I think that should be open. We're not asking to bash anybody. We're just asking to be honest. I think our patients, our consumers have the right to have that. Some people have told me that they have that sticker on their jars, but yet dispensaries might put a sticker over that jar. It's just things we should regulate a little more clear than finding people for great grows, finding people for no reason at all. These are things more important to the industry and to the consumer than having a clean green grow get fined, get knocked because they know what they were doing, and some people can't understand that. So I think that's one of the things we want to say. And for that guy in the back right now, come get at me after the show.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Peggy Shaner, Peggyshaner. I'm here today in my role as member of the Board of Directors for the Chamber of Cannabis to share my concerns regarding the CCB's allocation of resources in the remediation process. As an accountant, I have kept the books for many cannabis industries and businesses since 2016. Recently, a client endured a 4-week bottleneck with this process. Another, a 3-week bottleneck delay, who says this now has become the norm. These delays have significant consequences for cultivators, which in turn negatively impacts the entire cannabis industry supply chain. Their cash flow depends on a quick turnaround because their entire harvest is in lockdown until the remediation process is completed. Any delays for any reason can be catastrophic, particularly for smaller businesses who only have the capability of cultivating one harvest at a time. One cultivation owner had to pay $30,000 to get new product on his shelf to keep his doors open. He had to buy it from a competitor to keep his doors open and food on the table for his employees. He's very bitter and resentful about this. As you know, while the product is in lockdown, it becomes dated and begins to lose its value to consumers who only want to purchase fresh product. Less fresh, less sales, less income, less cannabis taxes in your coffers. It's a lose-lose. But despite these high states there seems to be a severe lack of personnel and attention dedicated to your remediation process, especially in relation to the abundance of personnel and resources that the CCB allocates to audits and inspections. For example, another client faced a very minor Category 5 violation, and the CCB leveraged 2 auditors and 3 investigators to address this problem, 5 people. In contrast, the remediation process, which holds a far greater significance for the industry, is reportedly manned by only 1 person. 5 people to address an audit and inspection, 1 person. This stark contrast in personnel allocation is indicative of an issue that requires urgent attention and immediate corrective action.
Thank you.
With appropriate staffing, there's no reason this process can't be done in a few days rather than week after week after week. In closing, on behalf of the Chamber, I strongly urge the CCB to reassess its staffing priorities and allocate the resources necessary to resolve the inefficiencies of its current remediation process. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any more public comment in the South? And just want to remind everybody just to keep your comments down to about 2 minutes so that everybody has a chance to come up and voice your opinions or concerns.
Good morning, board and distinguished members, chair. For the record speaking, my name is Timothy Eliato.
My name is Jonathan Candelo. I'd like to dedicate my time to Ellie.
Is that acceptable?
Just go ahead and try to keep it to 2 minutes, please. Thank you.
I might need a little bit more than 2.
If you have anything that you want to submit in writing, we'll take it as part of your.
I'm sorry, but he designated some time to me. Is that
Just
acceptable? Or not?
go ahead and
Okay,
make your
Sorry.
comments. Thank you.
thank you. So I'm hereby to I have addressed certain concerns to the our Governor Lombardo's office, and I believe our new chair have addressed. I have sent complaints to you as well, and this complaint has to do with ethics in which the CCB had conducted business in regards to its prior licensing process. I'll start with a presentation that I have for you here.
Or further down the process with regard to the social equity applicants, how many actually are qualified and actually get through the full state process to be qualified?
Well, they're going to give those 10 social equity applicants, like there'll be at least the 10. There'll be the 10. There'll be the
I guess how do we know that? I mean, everyone, just like when people apply for jobs, they're applying for jobs they may not be qualified for. They just want to apply for the job.
7 qualified.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and
Okay.
applicants.
Okay.
So regardless of what else they doing, I know
This chapter is called Lucky Number 7. Okay. What we just heard was our former CAC chair, subcommittee chair, Aisha Goins, during the subcommittee meeting indicating that she had submitted 7 qualified applicants for the social equity consumption lounge. Okay. Lucky number 7. This was before the drawing was even held. The night before the drawing was held, November 29th, they sent a newsletter, the CEIC. Let me read that out loud. Our grads will get a lounge license. Our grads will get a lounge license. This is before the drawing was held. It was already predicted their grads will get a lounge license. And let's not forget, let's keep that number 7, lucky number 7 in mind as we continue. Well, November 30th, the CCB had its selection drawing day, I guess we could call that. Okay. Lucky winners. Winner number 7. Please allow the CEIC to announce the winners and their success story. Now let's read CEIC's personal, in their own wording, after their victory. For immediate release, CCB awards 7 of 10 prospective licenses to CEIC graduates for independent social equity cannabis consumption lounges. She made the prediction, they made the promise, and they reap the rewards. Okay. I have more.
Policies or laws. Cooks was chosen as a social equity applicant. He wants to open a lounge in the Arts District.
The discriminatory policies, the disparate sentencing that I face, this is sort of a reparation.
Applicants have
Well, Chandler Cooks got his reparations.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, I'm almost done here.
Sir, I just want you to, if you have any comments, to go ahead and make comments. This isn't time for a presentation.
Share some of my recommendations for the community. I have expressed during the previous legislative session that unfortunately, up to today, there still isn't any proven profitable model for this consumption lounge of social equity.
Thank you.
I get discussion.
Back in 2021, during the session, I indicated the reason why we're in this problem that we are. Since now, as we speak, not one social equity consumption lounge has been opened. I explained the reason why it wasn't going to happen easily, because we were the only state that limited the pool of licensing to consumption lounge, which in part wouldn't attract investors. That is, they petitioned, they were in favor of that, even though Sandra Chalmers indicated that we square up. I was never given the opportunity to speak like now, never given the opportunity to share my thoughts. Everything was suppressed, just like now. My point is, corruption happens in secrecy. It's been almost 2 years. I have been adamant on this case. All I keep hearing is silence. Maybe silence is the name of this game, corruption. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Any additional comments?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shanna Perry, SHANNA-PERRY. I'm also known as Cannabis for the records. You're welcome to Google me, Cannabis, for my resumes, profiles, content. I've been at this since 2008 nationally. I am here today with battlereborn.com. We are Nevadans for Kennedy. I'll have a petition available for anyone to sign that would like to see a third-party candidate on the ballot in November. It's happening all over the country right now. Before 2020, I spent many years talking, laughing, smoking, and organizing with industry's owners, operators, patients, advocates, regulators, and more about the necessary changes needed for this product and its medicinal value to prosper. Businesses deserve more than maybe a 20% margin of profitability. Patients deserve adequate clinical trials and research of the medicine we have in these plants. What we've never had is a presidential nominee that not only plans to decriminalize on day one, but he's also organizing the development of healing centers to allow these types of therapeutics and research and treatment. Now that the rec industry has deleted medical marijuana licenses, maybe it's time Nevada invests its resources into medical marijuana research centers, which is the trillion-dollar industry. But we cannot do that without a leader like RFK. Things like changing how the FDA, CDC, NIH, and NADA operate is only some of the red tape that Kennedy plans to reorganize. Thank you all for your time and energies. Please visit kennedy24.com, battlereborn.com, or cannabis.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go on to the north. Is there any public comment in Carson City?
If you wish to provide public comment, click the raise hand icon at the bottom of your screen if joining by Zoom. If joining by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand.
Yeah, there appears to be public comment here. We're just obviously having some technical issues today.
Thank you.
Here, I believe we gave people in the north the phone number to join as well.
I think that's attempting to happen right now.
Okay. Caller with the last four numbers, 4041. Dial *6 to unmute, and please state your name before providing your comment.
Good morning, Executive Director Hum, esteemed Chairwoman, and board members. For the record, my name is Christine Gamez, Gamez, and I serve as a board member of the Chamber of Cannabis. I speak before you today as a concerned industry professional and also a cannabis consumer. I'd like to first start off with the industry needs. We created regulation of SB 277 to include verbiage of 2.5 ounces and or 7 grams of concentrate, and this bill was approved and signed on June 14th, 2023. That's 218 days ago. I, along with dozens of other companies, have sought out numerous times to get clarity on regulation of milligrams. We only got direction in a bulletin distributed on January 3rd, 215 days after it was approved and 3 days later than the legal change. This burden to the cannabis community caused brands to hit confusion, unnecessary additional consistent pivots, and receive inconsistent information. Even with the information that was provided, there was a big error. What non-consumers probably don't know is that when you sell straight flower, it's very easy to count up to 2 ounces. And when buying concentrates or vape products, you again count up to 7 grams. It's simple math, really. But what is less understood is that when you mix the two or have edibles, topicals, or tinctures, you go to a milligram system, which requires our point of sales to convert products into a completely different conversion called flower equivalency. I'll save that cannabis math for a different day. I have a poster that I did take a picture to. Obviously, we're having tech issues, but you guys will be receiving that later today, so you will be able to follow along a little easier. Our prior allotments were 1 ounce of flower, equivalent to 3,543 milligrams of THC, 1/8 or 3.5 grams of concentrate, and still not to exceed 3,543 milligrams in any one given transaction. What this means is that once you buy 1/8 of concentrate, any available milligrams has to be utilized in edibles, flower products, topicals, or tinctures. The new allotments are now 2.5 ounces of flower, a 2.5 times increase, and 7 grams of concentrates under vapes, a 2 times increase. But when it came to the new announced milligram allotment, instead of following the math of the original regulations, that 1 ounce was equivalent to 3,543 milligrams, Logically, 2.5 times that would have made the milligrams 8,857.5 milligrams. The wrong part of the regulation was used to provide guidance. If I were to go to a dispensary and ask for 2 ounces of flour and an edible, that is over the 7,087 milligrams that's currently regulated. However, it is actually less than the equivalent of 2.5 ounces. It's imperative that we get this rectified so we can sell the appropriate amounts in a retail setting, not undoing this massive headwind that we've achieved this year. It should read 2.5 ounces of usable cannabis, better known as flower, 7 grams of concentrated cannabis, which is concentrates or vapes, not to exceed 8,857.5 milligrams. This would properly honor all aspects of SB 277 purchasing limit changes. As a leader of the business and nonprofit, understanding and connecting with my colleagues and constituents is not only important, but it's critical to the success of the industry. At the CCB meeting in October, I flew to Las Vegas to stand in front of each of you, and I invited you all to step into our world, challenge each of you to understand what we deal with every day, day to day. I'm just curious if any of our board has decided to venture into a cultivation, a production, a dispensary, and engage with the leaders in our industry for a better perspective. It is so important that the industry workers feel collaboration from our leaders, you all. I encourage that you all start becoming cohesive with the frontline workers so we can operate as a team, as allies. We are here to stand with you, support you all. Please use the resources that are sitting in front of you. Thank you for your time and consideration in changing the allotment guidance.
Thank you. Any more public comment?
There's no additional comment.
Thank you. We have one additional comment in the South.
Good morning, Board Chair Fallick, Vice Chair Durrett, and board members. My name is Nicole Buffong, representing the Chamber of Cannabis and Minorities for Medical Marijuana. I'm honored to serve on the Cannabis Advisory Committee subcommittee on market participation. After the survey report came out last week, it is clear why the state needs a market participation subcommittee to encourage more women and minority-owned businesses to engage with the cannabis industry in Nevada. A total of 26 owners out of 133 identify as minority, which includes Asian, African American, Hispanic, and Pacific Islander. About a third of the total owners in Nevada are women, which is a number that is better than most states, but we can do better. We had our first meeting last week and have already began conversations with women and minority-owned businesses that have some great ideas on how Nevada can have more market participation from these specific groups. As you know, M4MM supported the Chamber Bill, Senate Bill 277 last year. The justice component of that bill truly gives Nevada an opportunity to be leaders in the country. 7 months after the bill was signed, we are still waiting on those details from the CCB to be able to share with those in our community that are eager to work in the cannabis industry. If we truly want to mitigate the unlicensed market, then we have to create an easier pathway to the licensed market, especially for those that have committed offenses. Community organizations like M4MM and the Chamber are here as partners to work together to educate the community and those that could benefit from these new ways to access the market. In order to do so, we need the information. I hope we are still not asking for these resources again next month. As a plant medicine advocate and a conscious consumer, I would like to know what the CCB is doing to enforce NCCR 12.065, which states if any cannabis or cannabis product has been treated with radiation at any time, any and all packaging of the irradiated cannabis or cannabis products must include labeling that contains the following statement. Notice, this product contains ingredients that have been treated with irradiation in bold lettering along with the Redur symbol as used by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. I have spoken with patients and consumers, and we all agree. We deserve the right to know who uses remediation on their products and who does not. One expert explained to me that remediation of the flower is done if they don't pass testing, which is generally because of bad microbial growth due to poor sanitation in the grow and their processing stages. Well, I personally know of one cultivator in the state who has a 95% pass rate and passed their retest with no remediation. Thank you to GLP. So it can be done with the proper SOPs in place to make sure their environment is always clean. In addition, GLP is triple organic certified, Dragonfly Earth Medicine, Clean Green, and Certified Kind. They also grow organic certified food and raise organic eggs. The time, energy, and money that is required to grow cannabis in a clean facility should be able to be differentiated their products from those that value radiating the flower to kill bacteria, mold, and microbes. My question is, if the users of these rad machines swear that there is no harm to consumer, then why are they trying so hard to hide the fact that they use this very expensive machine from us? We would like to see NCCR 12.065 enforced by the CCB, because according to state statute, NRS 67A.005, public confidence and trust can only be maintained by strict regulation of all persons, locations, practices, associations, and activities related to the operation of cannabis establishments. I hope we will not have to bring this issue to the board again next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the public comment section, and we'll go on to item number 2, this time for real. It's the meeting minutes. Let's do the approval of the November 14th, 2023 Cannabis Compliance Board meeting minutes. Has everyone had the opportunity to read? Are there any comments, concerns? And if not, I'll take a motion for the approval.
Member Douglas, motion for approval of the November 14th, 2023.
Is there a second? Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the consideration of approval of the November 21st, 2023 Cannabis Compliance Board special meeting minutes. Do I have a motion for the approval?
Move for approval, subject to the fact that there were only, I guess, 3 members present on that. So I guess 2 would note that they were not there.
Okay. Do we have a second on that motion?
Jerry Merritt, for the record, second.
Thank you, Member Merritt. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next we have the consideration approval of the December 12th, 2023 CCB board minutes.
Jerry Merritt, for the record, I move that we approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Member Douglas, second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll go on to item number 3. This is a consideration approval of conditional license for cannabis consumption lounge, Cafecito SW LLC, I believe. Mr. Staley.
Chair Guzman Freilich, Vice Chair Durrett, Justice Douglas, Member Merritt, and Dr. Young. For the record, I am David Staley, Division Chief of Investigations for the CCB. I'm here to present agenda item 3, which consists of 2 requests for approval of a conditional license for a cannabis consumption lounge. If the board approves conditional licensure, the applicant will still need to complete necessary local approvals and a final inspection by the CCB's Inspection and Audit Division before it can open for business. Item A is a request for approval from Cafecito SW LLC for an independent consumption lounge under application number ACON-A22-00083. Cafecito has submitted all information required to move to the conditional license status. Areas of interest were noted regarding Desiree Harmon's operation of pharma extracts and background of her husband, Orlando Angulo. I'm available for any questions, and my understanding is that Carla Krieger, Desiree Harmon, and Orlando Angulo are available to address any questions you may have as well. With that, Chair Guzman Freilich, I'll turn this item back to you.
Thank you. Welcome. Do you have an affirmative presentation for us?
We do. Good morning, board members.
Good morning.
We are Cafecito SW LLC. My name is Carly Krieger.
Good morning. My name is Desiree Harmon. First, we would want to thank Dana Lauren, Rachel Branner, and Chief Staley for all their patience and cooperation with our investigation. We would like to begin by addressing the areas of concern. We're confident the letter and many character statements we submitted on my husband's behalf have shown he is of no concern to the industry. However, he's here to answer any questions you may have for him. With that, we would like to introduce our affirmative presentation, and we hope you all love it.
Is there the video?
Is there the video presentation or?
I sent a video on Monday, an MP4 with it.
I'm sorry, this is the court reporter. I need names of who's speaking, please.
Sorry, this is Desiree Harmon. We also submitted an MP4 video presentation.
So if we can get that forwarded to us, and then we'll have a look at that after the fact. But go ahead and continue with your presentation. I know all of us up here at the dais have a
Okay, perfect.
copy of this. Thank you.
Concept. Our concept is a Canna Cafe and Lounge, where the allure of a lush paradise meets the vibrancy of the Las Vegas desert. Imagine a place where you can transition from a co-working coffee house to a lively lounge, all in the same captivating space. Sorry, I should have brought water with me. By day, the cafe welcomes you with cozy seating, craft coffee, free Wi-Fi, and of course, cannabis, creating the perfect environment for remote workers and relaxed brunch with friends. As the sun sets, the cafe transforms into a dynamic lounge, serving Canna cocktails, infused and non-infused dishes, and the sounds of talented DJs and live music, spanning all genres. Whether you come day or night, our lush tropical foliage and earthy atmosphere transports you back to memories of your favorite warm weather vacation past. At Juntos, we've envisioned more than just an oasis in the midst of the city. It's an inspired concept where an experience takes center stage and true connoisseurs enlighten visitors about the artistry behind curated products. Our vision is infatuated by an incredible team who takes ownership of the mission to be the heart and soul of the community, truly serving with kindness, gratitude, authenticity, and quality. Juntos is Spanish for together, and at Juntos, we believe everything is better together.
We are the current team right now. I'm co-CEO, Carly Krieger for the record. A little bit about my background. I grew up here in Las Vegas. I have an extensive business background in real estate. I owned an almost 300 unit apartment complex in Henderson that I operated with my sister, and we sold just before the pandemic. I have been a licensed attorney here in Nevada for over 5 years and practice pretty much exclusively small business and cannabis my entire legal career, except for when I volunteer my time as a cap attorney. And yeah, I'm really excited to move on to this next venture here.
And my name is Desiree Harmon, again, for the record. So my background, I built a manufacturing company here in the city. I did like everything, you know, from start to where it's at now, you know, had to wear many hats to get the company to where it's at. We're currently GMP and ISO 9 certified, which we're really proud of. It was very hard to get to that point. But I'm very excited to be moving on to the lounge, where I want to be doing like the creative matters and things like that. So that's my background.
We intend to be capitalized by a number of interested investors. And of course, compliance is always on the top of our mind. So they will all be put through. People with 5% or more will go through the suitability process as we are, and will all be put forward on a transfer of interest.
We are actually excited about a location that we've found, and we're in the process of getting all the paperwork and everything worked out. We're really excited about the location. I think it's going to be great for the locals and tourists. But we don't want to say too much before we get everything signed and everything. But we're excited
Working
about
through,
it.
yeah, working through LOIs right now. We
Yeah.
hope to submit the SUP in early March.
I'm sorry if somebody's speaking.
Member Douglas, for the
Hear
record,
them.
and I apologize, I didn't have my microphone.
That's okay, thank you.
Your application, your information provides you're going to be somewhere in unincorporated Clark County, is that correct?
Correct. Of course, the lawyer in me knows how important compliance is. So we are very much about compliance at Juntos, from not just on our cannabis side, but all our employment, OSHA, business compliance, very important to us. Like we said, we hope to submit the SUP in early March. From that, it's about a 3-4 month process. Hope to do building permits at the same time and build out from what we've projected from general contractors is about 4 to 6 months as well. So as soon as our SUP is submitted, we hope to be open in about 10 to 12 months if everything runs smoothly, which is my job. And that is our affirmative presentation. We're really sorry the video didn't work.
Yeah.
We're hoping to blow you away with that. That was really all our information in that. So thank
This is
you.
Member Douglas, for the record, do you understand, you submitted a document reference Orlando? That at this time, he can have no involvement with the operation?
Correct, until he gets his agent card, yes.
We understand, and you might want to talk to Mr. Staley about additional information about that issue.
Okay, thank you. And I have a question can you just tell me a little bit about the products that you are planning on selling at your lounge? And then I think one of the concerns that I have too is whether you will be selling any of the products from your husband's store in the lounge.
So we hope to be a cafe and lounge serving coffee and food. We will have cannabis products, flour. We, I think, decided against vapes as it's just not environmentally friendly on a one-time use. And infused foods and cocktails. If we do serve any of Orlando's products, it will go through board approval like all other menu and cannabis products.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions from the board members?
Member Drat, I've been debating the whole time. Do I mention that Carly interned for me back when I was with the Nevada Dispensary Association? Thank you. This is definitely the prettiest slide deck I've seen. Thanks.
Well, we can't wait for you to see our video after then. So
we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Members, any other questions? Member Young, any questions from you?
No questions. I think despite not having the video, I thought that was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
Thank you so much for your time today. Yeah.
Thank you. And with that, we'll go ahead and bring it back to the board and we'll consider any motions or any discussion with regard to this item. Any questions or concerns, or is there a motion for approval?
Member Douglas, motion for conditional license, cannabis consumption lounge.
Okay, we have an item on, do we have a second for that motion?
Member Drat, I second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations and good luck to you. Okay. All right. We look forward to seeing that video. So if you could just send it over. Okay. Now we're going on to item number 2. Or actually, yes, it's B under this item. And this is the consideration of approval for conditional license This is for Wellness Connection of Nevada LLC.
Good morning,
Good morning.
ladies and gentlemen of the board.
Just one moment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jumping the gun, sorry.
Let me read it into the.
Mr. Staley, please.
And even can I cut off Mr. Staley for a second? I have a disclosure here, Chair Freilich.
Yes, please go ahead.
I have a non-cannabis professional relationship with one of the members listed in the corporate structure. I don't think this will impact my ability to vote. I just wanted to disclose that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Chair Guzman Freilich, Vice Chair Durrett, Justice Douglas, Member Merritt, and Dr. Young. For the record, I'm David Staley, Division Chief of Investigations. Item B is a request for approval from Wellness Connection of Nevada LLC for a retail attached consumption lounge under application number ACON-A22-00063. Wellness plans to open its consumption lounge adjacent to its Las Vegas dispensary on Spring Mountain Road. Wellness has submitted all information required to move to a conditional license status. No areas of concern were identified with this application. I'm available for any questions, and my understanding is that Robert Lally Jr., Christopher Nevin, and Thomas McKinney are available to address any questions you may have as well. With that, Chair Guzman Freilich, I will turn this item back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Staley. Hello, and I'm looking forward to your presentation.
Yeah, hi, I'm Matt McClure, General Manager representing Wellness Connection Nevada here today. I guess I can dive right in here if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Excellent. So prepared a slide deck. It's not as neat or beautiful as the last group. Sorry, Vice Chairwoman. The presentation here today is just designed to give an overview of the current layout and design as it exists inside our 3615 Spring Mountain Road facility, and a general overview of some of the operational tenets of the business plan. So you can see there on the first slide there, site plan. You'll see in the blue section there, the concept scope area. It takes up roughly 40% of our existing retail space at the facility. We're one of the rare few that have all three license types inside the one there. So you'll see a monstrous building there and just a little carve out for this lounge. It's designed to take over, as I mentioned, roughly 40% of the retail space. And moving through to the next slide there, gives you a little bit more indication of the layout as it exists inside the retail with a close-up, the axonometric drawing there, as well as the existing floor plan. Moving on to the next there. Gives you an indication of what the entrance would look like from inside the retail space, with the brown counter on the right of that photo being the existing retail that we operate. With that glass wall there, with the mention of the name, the greenhouse, being the dividing line for where you would enter into the consumption lounge portion of the facility. Moving to the next is a general overall view of the interior. As I mentioned before, it's a smaller space within the retail space. It's really just designed to capture a handful of items that we wanted to donate to operational focus, specifically with smaller groups, reservation only, and event style formats inside the space. Moving on there, you'll see we highlight some of the features of the interior there, specifically that the furniture inside the location is designed to be create a modular space, meaning all of that furniture can either fold up into the wall, the TVs and all such can be covered, all the chairs can be removed to create a completely open floor plan. Should we decide to have a little bit more fun with some of the event concepts we hope to host inside the space. A smaller retail counter will have a limited product selection available to customers of the space. And we're trying to hide as best we can some of the access panels there with the blind door access for employees. And you'll notice in the previous slide there, I believe two back, we've got roughly a hidden restroom door as well as a hidden storage door on the far side of the facility. Just to highlight some of the operations that we hope to perform inside the space, as I mentioned before, reservation only. We're really trying to keep this to a specific customer base. We're very close to the strip there, and the groups tend to come into the retail space already having had a lot of fun in Las Vegas. So we're trying to limit their ability to have too much fun. With respect to the reservation, it tends to invite a little bit more serious nature of customer base. They tend to, having a scheduled appointment time and such, makes for a little less carelessness and all the fun I'm sure they'll be having. And we hope that they have with us inside the facility as well. We do intend to charge guests an entrance fee, which would be another barrier to entry there to make sure that the customers are serious and aren't coming over inebriated or intending to cause a ruckus inside the place. We tend to offer cannabis products that we currently sell within Cultivate Dispensary. However, it will be a much more limited menu as we want to really restrict the product types that we feel best fit the space and then the intended use inside the space as well. We will offer equipment rentals for consumption of some of these goods, as we don't expect people to show up with their dab rigs and such, right? Keeping this safe and as well as clean. We will host the services inside the space from staff to be able to facilitate consumption on these devices, not leaving these in the hands of some of the customers. We do intend to sell merchandise such as apparel and then paraphernalia, which would mimic the equipment rentals that we would offer within the space. We will offer educational classes. We do view the lounge as an opportunity to educate some customers on product types that may be of benefit to them, that the learning curve might be a bit steep, or there might be some apprehension as some of these devices require a little bit more mechanical knowledge on how to facilitate the function. We, as I mentioned before, we intended the space to be convertible for events, as well as potential rental options there, creating a space for people to come off strip and or locals to have a safe place to consume without having to completely overhaul wherever they may be at. Or I know I only like to invite certain people into my home, not all my friends, so keep that limited as well. We do plan to partnership with food trucks to be able to offer food on premise. We will cycle that menu around for breakfast, lunch, and dinner offerings concurrent with the time of the day. And then as well as in-house produced events, specifically with live music or entertainment inside the space to keep those bookings, somewhat differential in the audience that we approach, and then keep the space activated and fun as well. That's it for the presentation. As I mentioned, I'm sorry, it's not cuter or more exciting, but any questions I could answer, please.
Member Douglas, for the record, 2 questions for you. Do we have an anticipated opening date?
Yeah, as of right now, Member Douglas, we do have finalized construction plans. We have submitted all of our documents into Clark County for business licensing. As we move through the review process with them into the next steps, we will proceed with construction, submission of the building plans rather into the building department. And our goal right now would be sometime end of Q3 this year, as it's a fairly minimal interior change to the existing facility. There's not a huge overhaul or construction here. We feel we can complete the construction fairly quickly.
The other question is, are you impacted by any road construction down there? And are you east of Valley View on Spring Mountain?
We are east of Valley View and Spring Mountain. We're right between Valley View and Procyon. Construction is always a fun and exciting element on Spring Mountain. It doesn't look like that seems to be changing in the near future, but we've really since inception and operation of the dispensary, you really had to work within the spaces. The traffic patterns allow there. There's really only one way to access. If you're heading westbound on Spring Mountain to get there, would require you to turn on Procyon and park on the street. Or you'd have to go up to the light there. You really can't even, there's no U-turn access there. So you got to go to Valley View, so on and so forth, right? So we anticipate we're redesigning a little bit of the ingress egress into the parking lot and the facility. We do have a one-way driveway that flows right off of Spring Mountain. We intend to have Uber, Lyft, and rideshare services be available there for quick, easy access and drop off, as well as just being parked and available for customers to reach their next destination immediately after, as they will have consumed products. We have a decent sized parking lot, as we have all those functions inside the facility. It will be kind of right at that capacity. I think we're even two bike parking spaces that buy us the amount to get to the proceeded or the allotted parking spaces for the facility. But nonetheless, we will be making changes for some of the employee parking. We're talking right now with our neighbor there about maybe moving our employee parking over to the facility next to us, where we do have actual camera coverage of that, opening up our existing parking space for customers to utilize.
Thank you. Any other questions from board members? And I know we have somebody else on Zoom too. Is that one of your?
I know that guy.
Members?
Yeah, I believe you have Rob Lally there, Christopher Navan and Tom McKinney on the line there as well.
Any comments from you? The
Oh,
other
comments from
members?
you?
From your other members? And I not board members,
yeah,
but your
seeing-
members.
Raising hands on there. What do you?
Hi, Rob Lally with Cultivate. Just saying that we're really excited about moving forward with this process. We're excited about the plans that we have, and just want to get through this and get through construction. And Matt's been doing such a great job for us. We're really excited about having him lead the way. So thank you.
We got that on the record, right?
Great.
That's
Yes.
good.
Safe. Great. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay. Any CCB board members with any other comments or questions or concerns? If not, if you're prepared for a motion, then I'll take that motion.
Motion for approval of the conditional license for a cannabis lounge.
We have a first. Is there a second?
Jerry Merritt for the record, I second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you to the investigation team for making this so seamless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, now we're on to item number 4, which is the request for a transfer of interest. Under this agenda item, we have item A, which is DigiPath Labs, Inc. Mr. Daly.
Chair Guzman Freilich, members of the board, for the record, I'm David Staley, Division Chief of Investigations for the CCP. I'm here to present agenda item 4, which consists of 1 transfer of interest or TOI application. Item A is a TOI application, DigiPath Labs, Inc. TOI number 2300011 was filed requesting approval for the acquisition of DigiPath's license and trade name DigiPaths by IHE Holdings LLC. No areas of concern were developed during this investigation. I'm available for any questions, and my understanding is that Todd Denkin, Angus Douglas, Nathan Allen, and Jim Olson are available to address any questions you may have as well. With that, Chair Guzman Freilich, I'll turn this item back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Staley. Okay, thank you and welcome. Do you
Hi,
have
thanks.
Do you have a presentation for us?
Not really a presentation, no, but I'm Todd Dankin for the record,
Thank you.
founder and president of DigiPath Labs. I just really wanted to thank the CCB for a very easy process that this has been thus far, and just here to answer any questions. And this is Nate Allen, who's our buyer.
Great. Welcome. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any questions from the board members?
Member Douglas, for the record, I have no questions about suitability. My only question is whether or not you foresee any change in operation, or are you satisfied?
We're satisfied. And DigiPath operates at a level of excellence, I think the board well knows already. So under Todd's leadership, it'll remain, and we'll just continue forward that way. So, but also we're super grateful for the marketplace here in Nevada. We have operations in Arizona, very similar to the DigiPath operation, and to see what the regulatory bodies have done to clarify and enforce. It's complicated, but we're grateful for a good group like yourselves that take it seriously. So
not to get you in trouble with Arizona, but you did say this was a fairly easy process. So we're a lot easier and better than Arizona.
the words didn't come out of my mouth.
But I saw the head shake. Thank you.
It's on record that you said it, not him, right?
All right. With that, any other additional questions? Okay. Hearing none, then I'll take a motion. I don't think we don't have any conditions or anything, correct? Okay.
No, Chair, we do not.
Thank you.
Member Durrett, I move to approve the transfer of interest request under agenda item 4A.
We have a first. Is there a second?
Jerry Merritt for the record, I second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No nays. Motion carries.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
Thank you. Congratulations.
All
Thank you.
Mazel tov.
Okay, that brings us to item number 5. This is a consideration of approval to extend final inspection deadline with regard to Strive Wellness of Nevada LLC.
Morning, Chairman.
Oh, we do have
Members of the board, Steve Gilbert, Chief Administration for the record. Agenda item 5 consists of 3 petitions submitted by conditional licensees to extend the period of final inspection by the CCB. Item A is for Strive Wellness of Nevada LLC, conditional medical cultivation C206, and conditional medical production P131, which were issued to Strive Wellness on April 11th, 2018 within the Nye County jurisdiction. Legal counsel for the general receiver for Item 9 Properties LLC, which is the owner of the property on which Strive Wellness's conditional licenses will operate once construction is completed, is requesting the extension. However, CCB staff reached out to one of the owners of Strive Wellness, Sarah Gullickson, requesting a meeting to discuss the extension. A call was held with Ms. Gullickson, and as a result of the call, Ms. Gullickson emailed her approval of the extension request submitted by legal counsel for the general receiver for Item 9 for the 2 Strive Wellness licenses. Staff have communicated to Strive Wellness that there are areas of concern and has asked the licensee to be prepared to discuss its progress at the board meeting. One of the concerns listed in the board report was that Strive Wellness had not submitted a transfer of interest to the CCB. As an update to that concern, the CCB received the transfer of interest documents yesterday, January 17th. I'm available for any questions, and Sarah Gullickson, Larry Lemons, and Jean Gonell are present today via Zoom to give a brief presentation and address any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. We have a disclosure.
Member Durrett, for the record, prior to joining the Cannabis Compliance Board, I had been retained as an expert witness in a case that involved the ownership.
Ms. Gullickson, I'll hand it over to you at this point.
Hey, Steve, can you hear me? Okay, I'll try to finish. So I was retained as an expert witness for a law firm that represented a party that was opposed to the Strive Wellness ownership group. It wasn't related to Strive Wellness, it was related to the Harvest Foundation. And I was, like I said, retained by the law firm as an expert witness, not by any of the litigants. I think I will abstain on this one, though, just out of an abundance of caution.
Okay. Do we have individuals by Zoom?
Yes, Sarah Gullickson here.
Great.
I'm one of
Okay,
the
thank
owners of Strive Wellness LLC, or Strive Wellness of Nevada LLC, excuse me. And I just kind of wanted to give like a brief overview, and then I'll hand the kind of construction update and the update of the actual facility over to Jean Gonell. And I just kind of wanted to clear things up. So we had originally submitted, or we were under the impression that there was the transfer of ownership submitted back in 2020. At that point, the Department of Taxation was in charge of, the cannabis program. And so when this all kind of came to head, and when I was speaking with members of the board, they had asked why it wasn't submitted. And so that's what we've been doing over the last, week and a half. And so per, Steve, just to reiterate, that transfer of ownership was submitted yesterday, and that will transfer all of our shares over to Item 9. And that's all I kind of wanted to chime in on. And then I'll hand over to Jean.
Hello. So I am counsel. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I am Jean Gonell. I am counsel for the receiver for Item 9. Essentially, I have checked with my client pertaining to the status of the facility. And ultimately, it's at the 99-yard line as far as inspections and being ready to be licensed. It sounds like we'll be ready to go. There's about $30,000 that needs to be put into the building to finish everything out, which we can handle within the next couple of weeks without any problems. Again, I think this was an administrative snafu, and unfortunately, item 9 the receiver believed that this had been handled previous to the appointment. But then when item 9 was put into receivership, we have taken over and reorganized everything to ensure that this is completed, and hoping to have full and final licensure completed within the next couple of months.
Member Douglas, for the record, can you speak to the issue as to there seems to be a disconnect in terms of submission of ownership of property? Is this being done through the receiver? How is this being done? Because it's indicating there's a disconnect as to who's submitting this application and whether they have the ability to submit the application for an extension.
So Strive Wellness, we were unfortunately unable to find the Strive members originally. And so I was asked to take the role of submitting for an extension. And then subsequently, as soon as that was done, and I did make it very clear within the letter that I did not represent Strive, but we were moving for an extension with the hopes of putting in the change of ownership to finalizing the application. I've since obviously spoken to Strive, and they agree that they agree with the request for extension. And so that's, at this point, the extension has been requested by Strive. It merely happened via me as receiver's counsel.
I would, Member Douglas, again, I would ask for some clarification from our staff as of their report, as the ownership in the property.
So when you say the real property or the assets?
Well, I'm asking our internal staff if they could give some additional insight as to the report that they offered as to the conflict as the receiver, and who's submitting this report, and do they have the ability to do that to ask for the continuance? Don't want to bludgeon the licensee if possible, let them go forward, but like some clarification.
Mr. Gilbert, yes, if you could clarify the areas of concern, if those are still the areas of concern, considering the paperwork that was submitted yesterday.
Sure, thank you. Thanks, Chair. And Member Douglas. As far as the concerns that were outlined in Steve Gilbert for the record, as far as the outlines that were concerned in the report to the board, one of them was cleared up yesterday with the submission of the transfer of interest. The concern that we had regarding who submitted and what entity submitted the request for an extension was a concern, but it was clarified and lessened with our conversation with Ms. Gullickson. We as staff wanted to confirm that Strive Wellness was in fact submitting the request was submitted with their knowledge, which we did clarify with Ms. Gullickson. So that was clarified as a concern. Hope that helps.
Thank you.
Board members, are there any other questions that you might have, especially as it relates to the areas of concern? We know that Strive Wellness has submitted their request for an extension, so we're good with that. But with regard to the other areas of concern, are there any questions for staff or from the applicant? Any concerns or questions?
The only question I have, you're asking for an extension at this point. Is that to June 1, 2024, or are you looking for a date after that?
I do believe that June 1, 2024 would suffice. If you'd like to give until September 1st, that is also great, but June 1 would be fine.
As a side comment, Douglas, for the record, it might make sense to go with the date that we have for the other licenses, which was what, November 5th or something of that nature. If staff knows on license continuations that we've been granting.
And on that topic, since we are basically having these flexible, not flexible, but we're, because of all the movement in the state buildings and we're not sure where we're going to be, would it be okay? Do we have to have an exact date, or can we have extension until the board meeting of, what were we talking about, June? Are we talking about June? Or are we talking about November?
But I think we have a number that are, we're going to look at November. So I wanted clarification from our staff as to making it easier and not just having a patchwork.
So if we had an extension until the CCB board meeting in November, are we able to do that? Or do we have to have an actual date? And the only reason why I do that is I'm just copying other state agencies where they have extensions and they use the date, you know, the date of the board meeting, whatever the regulatory board meeting is for that month.
Douglas, for the record, I think unless one of our attorneys corrects me, if we just note for the November meeting of 2024.
See, counsel.
I mean, I think you may want to, you could do either one. You could extend it to the board meeting in November or to the date that you've given the other licensees. And I can't remember if that's November 5th or November 30th. But you could make them all the same day. And I would note they still have to get that transfer of interest approved before they go forward. So I think it might be prudent to give more than June. Because I don't know when the transfer, I mean, it may take a little while to investigate the transfer of interest and get that approved too. So that's a factor to consider.
Is that November month? Is that okay? Are you in agreement with it with November? I know you were talking about June, but is November okay? And I'm asking the applicant right now.
Yes, November's, that's fine. I believe we can finish the change of ownership as well as completion of the inspections before then. Hopefully.
Okay. And with that, is there a motion?
Member Douglas, for the record, I'd move for granting the petition for extension of the extension till the meeting to be held in the month of December.
Of December?
Excuse me, November.
Okay, November.
I'm still paying for this Christmas. I don't need another Christmas.
Okay, is there a second?
Member Young, I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Do we have a discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and with that, we go on to B under this agenda item, and that is the consideration of approval to extend final inspection deadline for Forever Green LLC. Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you, Chair. Item B is for Forever Green LLC cultivation licenses C100 and RC100. Forever Green received its final license to operate its medical cultivation on April 23rd, 2018, and its adult use final licensure on May 1st, 2019, both in the North Las Vegas jurisdiction. Forever Green lost its cannabis establishment location in November 2019, and on September 1st, 2021, the CCB issued a notice to Forever Green that due to its loss of location, the medical and adult use licenses were being reverted to conditional status as Forever Green does not meet the requirements to be licensed as operational. Staff have communicated to Forever Green that there are areas of concern and has asked that the licensee be prepared to discuss its progress at the board meeting. I'm available for any questions, and Paul Murad is present today to give a brief presentation and address any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you. Paul Murad of Las Vegas, Nevada, on behalf of Forever Green LLC. I have an analog version. Does everybody have a copy? Or
Yes.
Oh, so I wasted all the trees for nothing. Okay, I made extra copies just in case there was a problem, but we'll recycle the paper. It is not a pretty presentation because it was done for the purpose of being easily printed in black and white. So I can't compare with some previous presentations, but we're asking for additional time because of the delays that were briefly mentioned by our MSA or Managed Services Agreement partners who had, I'd have to admit, self-inflicted by them, legal issues with their investors. They raised a lot of money. They were our partners on building out and operating the facility. I had a disagreement with the investors during the boom years in the cannabis industry and raising a lot of money and misusing it. And as a result of their issues and problems, it resulted in a breach of our agreement with us. They also breached the lease of the facility. The facility was a large 55,000 square foot facility in North Las Vegas, partially built out, partially operational with licenses, as was mentioned by Mr. Gilbert. And then the rest of it was being built out as well. A lot of capital was invested in building out the facility, and everything was in the process until their MSA partners issue that created snowballed into a lot of other issues and resulted in the breach of a lease and loss of the facility and loss of that space, and then the timing associated with that. We had to work. We got entangled in litigation between the MSA partner and their investors, massive litigation across multiple states. And we got entangled in that and had to work hard until recently in clarifying, finally getting us our entity and our license, because they didn't have any ownership of the license. But we got entangled as being part of the mix, and so that caused a lot of the delays. As I mentioned on page 2, we talked about the 55,000 square foot facility in North Las Vegas. And we maintained all our licenses up to then and since then, both with the state on both licenses, the C100, RC100, North Las Vegas licenses as well, and stayed in compliance with the taxation department on resale certificates and state of Nevada on LLCs and everything else. It was a challenge finding a facility, and still until recently was a challenge finding other new facility in North Las Vegas. Because of the boom and due to the supply chain issues and growth in the warehousing space, we had that issue that also caused quite a bit of a delay with nearly zero vacancies in the warehouse space in North Las Vegas. We are in the process of discussing the new partnership agreement with experienced operators to come in and help with a build out a facility and operating compliant facility as well. We're working with real estate brokers, and then also in the past and then now as well worked with the North Las Vegas Economic Development Department just to help us locate the space available given the constraints. The second to last page, you will see, just in summary, benefits of this approval. You're supporting a small, locally owned, licensed business, and we'll be creating jobs in North Las Vegas, increases the diversity base of the Nevada licensees, and once operational, create additional tax revenue both for the state and for North Las Vegas as well. So this is our brief presentation. I'm open to questions, and we're hoping that you give us additional time as you have to some of the others, and hopefully it's still November meeting.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the board members? Questions, concerns? Okay. Hearing that, is there a motion? Do we have a motion for approval?
Member Drat, I move to approve the extension for the final inspection deadline for agenda item 5B to requesting to November of this year.
Yes.
Okay.
November meeting.
Okay, so our November meeting 2024.
Is there a second?
Jerry Merritt, for the record, I second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank
you very
you.
much.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Okay, and our final item under this agenda item is the approval to extend a final inspection deadline for FNM Holdings LLC. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Item
Thank you.
C is for FNM Holdings LLC, C105 and RC105, who obtained its conditional medical and adult use cultivation licenses in the city of Reno jurisdiction from a transfer of interest number 2205, approved by the board at its July 2022 board meeting. FNM was granted one prior extension for its licenses by the board to February 3rd, 2024. FNM reports they're close to completing construction, but are experiencing delays and are submitting this request in an abundance of caution. FNM requests an additional 6-month extension to August 3rd, 2024. Staff have communicated to FNM that there are no areas of concern and asked that the licensee be prepared to discuss its progress at the board meeting. I'm available for any questions, and legal counsel for the licensee, Amanda Connor, is present today to address any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Connor, I know you've been making progress. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Good morning, Amanda Connor, for the record, on behalf of my client FNM Holdings. Yes, in fact, we had hoped to submit the documents necessary to schedule a pre-operational inspection, but there is a delay in certain security cameras, about $20,000 of security camera equipment that has not been delivered. And as I'm sure you understand, having the necessary security cameras in place before they get approval to begin operations is necessary. We're hoping to submit early February for that inspection. But given the February 3rd deadline, in an abundance of caution and to give time for that equipment to come in, we are asking for that extension. The other item that is outstanding is a few doors. I was unaware, but apparently the inventory of doors in not only Nevada, but the Southwest is very limited. And they are actually having doors shipped from the East Coast for a few rooms that needed some doors installed. So very close, but just need a little time due to those few equipment delays. But hopefully they will be up and fully operational and harvesting by the August deadline, but we would kindly request that additional 6 months.
Key questions from the board.
Ms. Connor, for the record, Member Douglas, they're up in Reno, subject to the doors. Did they have any problems with the city?
City of Reno has issued their business license.
Any additional questions from board members? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion? Oh, one last question.
Member Douglas, for the record, motion for approval of the extension to the let's go with the November meeting.
Okay, great. We have a first. Is there a second?
Member Durrett, I second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Member Young, did you have discussion? Did I jump the gun here?
No, I was in the process of seconding it, but I forgot to turn on my microphone. But anyways,
okay. All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
November. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to go on to agenda number 6. So this is the approvals and resolutions. Under that agenda item, we have A, which is the notice of final licensure for Polaris Wellness Center LLC.
Thank you, Chair. Members of the board, Steve Gilbert for the record. Agenda item 6A is an informational item presented as a notice to the board of an establishment that has been issued their final license since the last board meeting. Item number 1 is for Polaris Wellness Center LLC, which was awarded a conditional distribution license T068 on August 25th, 2017 in the Clark County jurisdiction. On November 29th, 2023, the CCB conducted a pre-opening inspection and audit of the distribution facility. The inspection and audit results revealed the facility was in compliance with the NCCRs and NRS A statement of no deficiency was issued on November 15th, 2023, demonstrating Polaris has met the regulatory operational requirements to become operational. As a result, the CCB approved and issued final licensure to Polaris for its distribution license on December 20th, 2023. Thank you. I'll turn this back over to you, Chair.
Great, thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Okay, that was an informational only. So now we will go on to item number 7, which is the briefing from our chair. I don't have anything other than Happy New Year, and I hope that 2024 is a great year for cannabis. Thank you. And now we have our briefing from our new director, Director Hum.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate the time. Good morning, everyone. Just my remarks after the first month of the job are all ones of graciousness. So I want to thank Governor Lombardo and his senior team, not only for their leadership, steady hand, but also for their faith in me. Also eternally grateful to Director Cannabis for helping me through the transition and also for building such an incredible team. I have the pleasure of working with these folks every day. Their dedication, work ethic, talent always shines through. Also want to thank the board members for their kindness and for also easing my transition. They've been absolutely wonderful to work with. It's truly a pleasure to work with all of you. Their commitment to the state is unparalleled on top of their other obligations. So thank you. And all the folks here and listening online, I also want to thank those in the industry, not only those that have reached out, but also just for coming to these. I know the passion in the industry is really, truly energizing. It really is. It's really a wonderful group of people. I know it's early in my tenure, but I do know that under the leadership of Governor Lombardo, this incredible board and the awesome team at the CCB, that the future is definitely right. So again, thank you to everyone. I do have one last item before I turn it back to you, Chair. Bear with me as I read this, but it is important for the industry as we move forward. We're actually working on a market study with a third-party independent evaluator, excuse me. They're conducting a comprehensive study and emerging sector analysis. We're encouraging participation in the survey by both consumers and industry folks, as your participation will help policymakers insight into how the industry can be improved. The information collected through this industry will remain strictly confidential. No individual responses will be shared either publicly or privately with any member of the state of Nevada, Nevada Cannabis Compliance Board, or anyone else outside the independent research team. The top level survey findings will be included in a publicly available final report once it's completed. So please do take that survey. Links and QR codes are available on the front page of our website. Thus far, we've had terrific engagement, but it can always be better. So we want the study to be comprehensive. So please do take that time. It won't take more than 5 to 10 minutes. So if you have the time, please do it. In closing, again, thank you all. Thank you to the board. Thank you to the governor. And without further ado, I'll turn it back to you, Chair. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And thank you for those comments. Really appreciate that. And again, welcome on board. All right, next we have the meeting date for February, which is February 15th, 2024. We will be here, Amber. Yes, okay, here, unless they kick us out. So we look forward to seeing everybody then. Item 9 is items for future agenda. Any discussion for items of future agenda from the board members? Okay. Hearing none, then we will go on to our second half of a public comment. Again, I remind everybody to keep your comments under 2 minutes, and we welcome comments in the South.
Hi, good morning. My name's Danny Baranowski. I won't spell it unless I have to, because it takes about 2.5 minutes to spell. I'm just kidding. I'm vice president of the Chamber of Cannabis. I'm a small business owner, and I represent a cooperative of intentional brands of all sizes who contribute to the state's economy. Today, I'm here to sound the alarm on a severe threat facing the cannabis industry, specifically the lack of oversight of accounts receivable, and its devastating impact on our industry's viability. I put out a call to my peers and colleagues for cultivators and producers across 6 brands. They privately disclosed that $10 million of unpaid past due invoices are due. And also labs are up in the 10 million as well. The industry's hinges on these labs and to keep products safe and a medical grade and to keep our industry safe. The cycle, how it goes is the cycle of retailers who are not paying brands, it's cascading down the supply chain, affecting extractors, leaving cultivators in turmoil, and labs, the people keeping our industry safe, they're going unpaid, leaving producers unable to pay packaging, suppliers, and the list goes on. Those on the bottom of the supply chain are financing struggling retailers, and they themselves are accruing late fees and debt. The industry standard for payment is net 15 to net 30. Excise taxes are due monthly, so depending on the day, taxes are due long before their compensation is collected. So those with the slimmest margins are financing retail operations. But every month the taxman cometh, the IRS looms, and they have the resources to collect, and the CCB is sitting. We are in this industry's nascency, and unlike traditional B2B markets, we as the producers and cultivators lack access to credit data. So other than the whisper campaign, incoming brands are being taken advantage. Calls to receive compensation for goods go unanswered, and the CCB is doing nothing until it's at the point of receivership. So the allure of the illicit market grows while the industry's good actors are living in constant fear of collapse. We advocated for bills like AB 341 and SB 277 to remove barriers to entry. The issue is they don't want to come to the legal market and compete where we have insurmountable taxes and debt. In 2022, the Whitney grimly reported 24.4% of businesses are profitable. Cannabis businesses are operating at a loss, not to mention the inability to deduct standard expenses. And this board under NRS 678A.460 is required to consider if there are methods to reduce or eliminate regulations that impose economic burdens on holders of adult use licenses. I wanted to ask Committee Member Merritt, with your background in banking, is this how banking in other industries work? And the other committee members here that come from gaming, are casinos allowed to renew their licenses if they're not paying their vendors? What are the consequences for other industries, and what are we going to do about it? Brands, cultivators, producers were afraid of speaking up, afraid of being boycotted by the retailers. So instead, they're leaving the market, and because they're not getting paid for their investment in producing for our consumers, the innovators go elsewhere, and investors making sound financial decisions are avoiding Nevada. And the good guys who are acting with integrity and paying their bills, they're operating at massive losses, and they're living in fear that they're not going to make payroll, and that the leaders, are themselves going to lose their job. So to address this issue, I'd like to find common ground and work together for regulatory reform. I want to advocate for financial compliance and businesses acting with integrity to continue to prosper. Everyone in this industry can benefit, and not just those who touch the plant. So this is a call for action for businesses and individuals to join advocacy groups like the Chamber of Cannabis and to partner with the CCB to work alongside the industry to institute change and set an example for the entire country. Chair Freilich, can you knowingly let this industry fail before it has a chance to prove itself? And Executive Director Ham, please, I urge you in this committee to take action and perpetuate the reputation that Nevada truly is the gold standard in creating sensible and sustainable cannabis policy. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Good morning, esteemed board members, Chairwoman Freilich, Co-Chair or Deputy Chair Durrett, and Executive Director Hum. It is my pleasure to stand before you. My name, for the record, is Bree Padilla, BRIPADILLA, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Chamber of Cannabis. After such an energy-filled public comment section at the top and the end of this meeting, I wanted to take a moment to clarify that while our membership and indeed our entire community, as you saw, represents and is represented by a broad array of needs and interests, I would like to emphasize that our goal as an organization is to foster collaboration and support for all members of the chamber and the industry at large, recognizing that each team may have their own needs, methods, priorities, and concerns. Our priority remains to unite the industry while fostering community and business-friendly initiatives, which we accomplish through our committee work. One thing today's comments highlight, however, is that we are still fumbling the ball on what should be one of the cornerstones of our industry, and that's education. Education about the challenges that operators face as a result of commercial and supply chain pressures. Education about the ecological impact that our industry is having. Education about the needs of patients. Education about the concerns of small and mid-sized operators. education for the different community stakeholders about who the cannabis operators in their own neighborhoods are. In the coming months, I will be making a dedicated effort to visit our members and our industry operators on the front lines, as our board member Christine Gomez mentioned. And I invite you to join me or to participate in more of your own. I have heard from operators that they have seen the board out in the field, and I also want to thank you for that time as well. Let's go in though with questions and intention, perhaps maybe a statute or a code that operators have expressed frustration with. Let's go in and ask them why. I know I will be. I'm very excited to hear about the market survey. We've already encouraged participation in our membership and community, and will continue to do so. And in closing, I want to thank you all for your continued dedication to our industry. I truly believe it was a collective passion, respect, and hope for the cannabis plant, and that has caused us all of our paths to cross. And it's an honor to serve and to work with you all. If you have any questions or anybody out there wants to provide any concerns or solutions, they can hit me up at director@coclv.org. That's director@coclv.org. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Additional comment in the South?
Hi again. For the record, my name is Nicole Bafong, representing the Chamber and Minorities for Medical Marijuana. I just want to say I'm so excited to see the ladies that won the license. This is the kind of environment that we wanted to create, a more diverse, a really cool initiative to bring to the Las Vegas community. I can't wait to attend a venue like that for consumption. And so we're excited to see that type of innovation come to Las Vegas. And I just wanted to say thank you for approving their conditional license, because we're looking forward to seeing them open their doors. Thanks.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Any public comment in the North?
Does not appear to be any public comment in the North.
Thank you. How about online?
There is no one online to provide comment.
Okay. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close up this month's meeting of the CCB, and we will see you here next month. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, everybody.